Shark. It's time to rock. Are we live, guys? Are we live?
I really hope so.
There's a red thing in the corner, so I reckon
Yeah,
you're not pulling another stunt on us, boss.
If anyone's wondering, the reason we're a bit late today is because we actually thought we started the show. Andrew said he'd press a button, and we started the show, and we were going through, and we're almost at the rankings, and then we looked up, and it's not live. So,
yeah. Well, actually, technically speaking, we actually probably started the show 12 hours ago because I had the show set up for 7 a.m., bro, not 7 p.m. And it's one of those it's one of those little tricky things that happens when you set up a StreamYard's link on your phone. Sometimes you forget to do that. But, yeah, we are live and we are on time. Very, very rarely will we be doing shows, Brad, at 7 o'clock in the morning my time, won't we?
Or 5 o'clock my time in the morning.
Wait, 5? So it should be 6 o'clock in the evening for me. That's absolutely fine. No worries at all. Well, then you would know what I have to do. I think that'd be a good idea. Get up.
Yeah, up and shine, rise and shine.
We did say we would do it for some special people, though, didn't we?
Look, you get Eric on, I'll do it any time of the day.
Yeah, I notice you're not including us in that list of special people.
Oh, look, to be fair, though, to be fair, Simon, we do appreciate the fact that you are disturbing your beauty sleep and jumping on. But look, at the end of the day, you are a champion for doing it.
Yeah.
You just keep making me do it. You just send me a link that's for bloody 3 o'clock in the morning or something. What's the last one I came on? 1 o'clock in the morning it started. Blimey.
Look, you're either very dedicated, Simon, or you're completely insane.
Yeah. Well. To be fair, that show that you did early in the morning was at the request of Bob, wasn't it? Yeah. And that was okay. And that was a good show. We managed to get a couple of guys on and talk about a few things. We're planning that Tom Petty show with Pete at some stage, but that's definitely Brad in the pipeline. Speaking of Bob and Jeff, the authors of this wonderful Fleetwood Mac book, it's Jeff's birthday. Was Jeff's birthday yesterday, Brad and Simon. So we have no idea how old he is, but we do want to say happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. And all the best, and many to come.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Jeff. It's a pleasure doing stuff with your book and you. It's been great fun. Really good.
Yeah, fantastic.
There we are. And we should say happy birthday to the boss for last Monday. Yes, 25, yes. And he kept that under the radar, didn't he? But he's had a busy week of. Yeah, he did. He's had a busy week of birthdaying this week.
Yeah,
4 days away doing something or other.
Yeah, happy birthday, Andrew. Happy birthday.
No, I appreciate it, bro. Thank you, guys. And when you get to a certain stage in life, you do appreciate the fact that it's 1 year above ground, Brad and Simon. 1 year above ground is always better than a year in the ground. So that's a fact. But again, I am going to rely heavily, folks, on my two co-hosts to lead through with this album because I've only listened to it a couple of times. To be fair, in preparation for the show, familiar with the album though, obviously, and we'll talk about that during the intro, won't we, Brad and Simon? But when it comes to casting a keen eye, Brad, over things, you got to listen to it a few times, don't you?
100%. And I mean, you probably know this album backwards anyway, Andrew. So it's not like you're behind the eight ball because you've only had a few listens this week, but. I think in preparation for these shows, I pretty much listen to the album daily and maybe on the day, like I listen to it in the morning and I change my rankings and maybe throw a few extra things in. Just in the morning, I put it on and I listen and that's my routine with it all.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because obviously the Rock Professor folks is going to go through and do the intro on the album, but I must say it has been a while, Simon and Brad, since I've listened to this album all the way through, and surprise, surprise, very, very surprised. I was driving back this afternoon listening to it, and it's a bloody good album. I think it's an album that sometimes gets forgotten, Simon.
It does. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I chose it because I didn't know it. You know me. I that's why I chose it, because I thought I don't really know this record at all.
Mm.
You know, it's done exactly what you described. It's kind of passed me by, and I didn't really know why. So I thought I'll just go back and you know, attack it afresh, kind of thing. I
Sure.
mean, if I have heard it, it was a long, long time ago, but I don't think I remember hearing it ever before. I mean, I know a couple of the tracks on it, but
Sure. Yeah.
you know, other sources, but no, not not come across it all, which is I think a good reason for for choosing one, to be honest.
Well, I'm
And
glad you've
Investigation.
chosen it, Simon, because Brad will attest to this. We've done a couple of shows ourselves, or a couple of midweek brodowns, talking about ZZ Top, but we're going to have to do our own ZZ Top playlist, like we've done with Deep Purple, Brad, because you know this will be about at least 5 or 6, maybe 7 shows on ZZ Top we've done on the channel.
Yeah, and
Yeah, done
you
a
know,
few.
to answer John's ND351, I actually had this one on my list to pick out of the many albums I've got ready for my choice, but I think it was a little bit of payback from Simon for me picking some. I've picked a few of his over the last year or so.
You
So I think
ruined my entire. I had a brilliant thing all lined up for Christmas, and you just ruined it by
that's
just
right.
doing something else.
And this is payback.
Unbelievable.
But that's how we roll on the show. That's how we roll.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. You know, we put the knife in live. Put the knife in live on the show.
Yeah, love it.
Like, or more to the point. Actually, I didn't realize you just chose another album. You know, all this intrigue and skullduggery takes effort. You know, I ain't got time for that.
Have one of you lads got the channel up?
I have.
What's last week's show on? The Deep Purple show. What's our views on that?
200 and
Please.
something.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Wow.
203. 203, sir. Yeah, so that's
Wow.
pretty good. That's fine. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. We did. We've been getting. So we've got 244 for the Eric Clapton one. So that's pretty good. Happy with that.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Well, Rock Professor, I think what you should do is you should do a shout out, because we've got 10 people.
Got a few people in. Yes.
and you might as well kick off the intro.
Blimey, give me everything to do today. Oh, well, so good morning to John, Z351. Quite right, we don't know how to use a clock, John, much. It's all a bit loose. Ellen, good morning, Ellen. Derek Clacton, good morning to you. Nice to see you. Derek's got up, well done. Brad Cook, some bloke called Brad Cook, and got some other bloke called Simon Williams. Dodgy. Johnny Heartbreaker, morning, Johnny. Fantastic. Yes, agreed. Analog jumbo Marshall stacks. What could be better? Jonas Halber, good morning, Jonas. Good to see you. And Arvin Gaunt, morning, Arvin. Nice to see you too.
Hey, bro.
Everyone who's made a comment, please make a comment, and I'll give you a shout out. That'd be lovely. So good morning to everybody. Nice to see you. The team is back.
Awesome. And we also want to say thank you to anybody before the Rock Professor does the proper intro. If you are watching on a replay, please comment. Please let us know what you think of our rankings, what you think of the channel, what you think of what we do here, and any album suggestions that you would like us. We're always happy and keen to take requests, aren't we, Brad?
100%. Yeah.
1, we're happy to take requests, and 2, we're happy if you want to do an album and come on with us to do it.
Correct.
That would be fun too. Your favourite album? If you haven't done it before, that would be brilliant. So But please, if you've got something to do and you know, I mean, Hugh's been on, Hugh Caldwell's been on, and Jim's been on as well. You know, and a few other people. I think it's really enjoyable
Crappy
to get.
Luxury. We've
Grappy's
had
been
Crappy
on, yeah,
Luxury.
yeah.
We've had Zach. And we'll always be doing it around about this time, won't we, Brad? So it's pretty easy to work out.
Yeah, it's always this time. So whatever time zone you're in, you'll know it's roughly around this time, whatever it is in your time. And just saying that, Andrew, I just thought I would back up, you know, something we spoke about in the chat, and you know, I bring it up every now and again. If you're looking at our YouTube page and you want to know when a particular show's on, you just look at you click on the show card, and it will tell you the scheduled time in your time zone. So, say for example, my time zone, it's 5:19 p.m. Andrew's 7:19 p.m. and Simon is a day behind us. What's your time zone?
8:19 on Sunday morning. I am, but yeah, you're right. The card will tell you when it's gonna be in the time zone that you are. It works it out. Good old YouTube.
we get a few people, you know, that want to know when the show is, and the question, oh, what time? I thought it was this time in my time zone or whatever. And also with our guest, anyone who wants to come on, if you're not sure and say you're flying around in your car like I was last week, you can look at the scheduled time and go, oh bugger, I'm late for the 5150 show. They go live in 5 minutes. Yeah. Yep. So you can actually look and see from the time card, you know, the time in your time zone. That's important.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, thanks for that. And it makes it so much easier. You're right. And so when we do flick you an invite, you know, with the link to the channel, you know, as Brad said, just hit that, and it will automatically tell you, as Brad's just said, easy peasy.
Yeah.
John, you can't be annoyed if we do an album without you. You've got to barge your way in and send us saying, I want to do this album, and we'll schedule a show for you.
And even John has done an album rankings with us too. Many actually. He's done rankings with us live. He's done rankings, other albums when we've been doing albums in the chat. So he's doing his own thing live.
Yeah,
you never know with John what actually he's ranking. Didn't he didn't one week he rank a Madonna album whilst we were doing something? This is priceless. Absolutely priceless.
Could have been Lady Gaga. He could have done Lady Gaga. Jeepers. Yeah. Madonna?
Yeah, I know. Could have pulled himself together and
all right.
Oh dear. So I should ask, I mean, I've said this, that I haven't come across his album before this week, so it's pretty new to me. Brad, what about you? When did you come across it? Have you heard it before? Much?
Yeah, look, I'm a big fan of ZZ Top, and I got into ZZ Top's greatest hits as a young fella. You know, once I became of age and I started earning money as a young apprentice, as a tradesman, you know, my quest to get all my favorite artists their albums, it was going backwards. I ended up buying this album before I bought the ZZ Top Eliminator. To be honest with you, I bought these albums, the first run of albums, the first 3, maybe 4 of their albums I bought before I bought Eliminator and Afterburner, which you would think most people would buy Eliminator first because that was probably one of the most successful. But I loved this early era of ZZ Top, and I'm glad you picked it because, like Andrew said, I haven't listened to this for a while. But that being said, when I say a while, it's been 6 months, maybe a bit more since I've actually spun this one in its entirety. But I listen to ZZ Top weekly. I have a playlist, and there's a few of these tracks on that playlist as well. And so I know this album very well. And I'm looking forward to hearing yours, Simon, with a fresher styled ears when you're not so familiar with this record. And Andrew, and I'm keen to hear what you've got to say about the album because you do know it. You know, keen to hear
Well, yeah, I've been fortunate enough to do a few shows with you and the Rock Professor talking about this band, and it's been a big part of certainly my life.
Mm.
We did a show, I think, talking about the DVD documentary, that's on Netflix, and we recommend everybody watch. That's one of the greatest musical documentaries out there. But look, I was lucky. Again, big, nothing new. Friends and relatives get you into this band. I was listening to this band in 82, 83. Got a lot of the songs, Simon, understood a lot of the songs, but some of the songs I didn't because you're just a little bit too young to sort of pick up on it. But I love the fact that it had crunchy guitar, Brad, and we've spoken about this a few times. I've got a Les Paul behind me, a Marshall amp, so have you. You got a Les Paul behind you. The Rock Professor's got his Strat there, and he's got his, his
I've got my, I haven't got my
his Telecaster.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I've got my P90 guitar. Very good.
It's P90, yeah. So we certainly fell in love with that crunch, didn't we? And as Brad said, I'm just going to echo what Brad said. And then Eliminator came out, and then all of a sudden everybody was listening to ZZ Top, all the normies, all the disco bunnies, all the emos, Brad, all the rock and rollers, all the reggae. Everyone was listening to ZZ Top, which isn't a bad thing. But this album definitely got some crackers.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's a blistering album. I love it. I don't want to give too much away.
No.
And I mean, we've done the first album. We've done Tres Hombres, which is the third one. Actually, yes, and we kind of missed this one out. So we've done Fandango. So we've done 3 out of the first 4. So now with this one, we will have done the first 4. It's I think a good place to be. So as I say, I've not really listened to it before. I may have heard it once beforehand, but morning, Gretch. How you doing? Hope you're good. Good to see you. So but I'm always keen to investigate new things, well, new to me anyway, stuff. So it's been a great week. Great week. Oh, John, umming and ahhing. Don't or ah. So okay, cool. So I'll do a bit of. There's not a huge amount of information on the album, so the intro will be quite short. But
cool.
Their second album, as I just said, after the first one, recorded in 1972, I think. So, yes, recorded in 1972. At the same studio that they did the first one, Robin Hood Studios in Tyler, Texas, and produced by Billy Ham, who's their manager all the way through, produced all the way through everything. They, although their first album had been relatively well received, the group knew it needed to be taken upward leap with the second album. When Gibbons said, when you're a bunch of guys in a band playing bars and clubs, a studio can be a cold, antiseptic, and intimidating place. We were still getting used to the dichotomy of the two. But they found an ally in the Rio Grande Mud engineer Robin Bryan, who owned the Texas-based Robin Hood studio. Robin did a lot to make sure we didn't experience the dreaded red light fever, Gibbons explained, referring to the paralyzing performance anxiety that can affect musicians while recording. Being a musician himself, he had a lot of empathy for anybody who wandered into his place, knew how to make everyone feel at home. So the album's title, Rio Grande Mud, pays homage to the band's Texas roots, evoking the rugged landscape and gritty spirit of the Lone Star State. Throughout the record, they channel the raw energy of the blues, infusing it with their own brand of southern swagger and irreverent humor. And the album title was inspired, of course, by the Rio Grande River, the river that forms the barrier between Texas and Mexico. So looking forward to it. So let's get into it, guys. That's right. Unless anyone's got anything else to add.
I just saw Jonas comment. Has anyone seen ZZ Top live? I have. I saw him in 2010 at Festival Hall in Melbourne, and my word, what a performance! Unbelievable. I'm so glad I went to that. It was one of my bucket list gigs to go to, and they played a couple of tracks off this album actually, so it was great.
Look at that, Johnny Heartbreaker. Seen them twice. First time Ted Nugent opened for them, was shooting a bow at a post of Osama bin Laden. Uncle Ted, where would it be without him? Dear. So anyway, this is a classic 70s album, 10 tracks, which I think is always good, not too long. And so track one opens, the album opens with Francine, which was the single. It didn't do very much. I think it reached 69 in the charts, but it was the lead-off single of the album. And I could see why it has it. It has a kind of pop sensibility to it, and it's got that drum roll straight into kind of Sharp Dressed Man riff, isn't it? That starts off with a Sharp Dressed Man type of riff that you think, oh right, okay, recycling, and it has classic Gibbons solo with the pinched harmonics, that short, sharp, bluesy thing. Great sound, by the way, as well. I mean, I think they recorded it really well. Everything I've played it on, it sounds fantastic because sound-wise, sonic-wise.
Yep.
Guitar sounds brilliant, and then it kind of mutates into the middle. It mutates into Brown Sugar at the end, doesn't it? The Rolling Stones' Brown Sugar completely. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you think about this is 72, not long after Brown Sugar. So but I could see why they chose it as a single, because it has those elements of the familiar, not with the Sharp Dressed Man yet, but the Rolling Stones kind of element that's definitely in it as a as a nice reminder to your audience about where you are. 9 out of 10, never a skip from me. Great opener, with that pop sensibility. I could see why they did a good thing. Brad.
Wow, that was great, Simon. Actually, I saw ZZ Top in 2014 or 13 as well. But the first one I went to it in 2010 was just one of those up there ones. It was amazing. Francine. Okay, this embodies ZZ Top's blues rock, gritty blues guitar riff sound, in my opinion. It's got that up-tempo rhythm with real soulful vocals going on, which is a bit of a trademark for them with the dual vocal thing. It was very soulful, very bluesy the way they did it. Great lyrical content. You listen to the lyrics, there's always playfulness in their lyrical content, sometimes tongue in cheek, sometimes, they're not completely serious all the time. I love that. I mean, like I've said it before and I'll say it again. I mean, only ZZ Top could get away with singing, Pearl Necklace and songs like that. There's only a certain amount of, bands that can get away with it. The instrumentation, I mean, Billy Gibbons, I mean, he's got such a distinctive guitar style, his guitar work, and the way that, as we've gone through and talked about Little Old Band in Texas, the multi-tracking approach that they used for the guitars, with Bill Ham, the way he would make the multi-track, the two guitar tracks, it's just unbelievable the way they've done it. There's a sense of simplicity there, but there's actually a lot going on. And Billy Gibbons, hands down, is a genius. I don't care what people say about him. I think he's rated fairly highly, but I think he deserves more credit sometimes for his tracking of guitar stuff. He's phenomenal. You got Dusty Hill on bass, Frank Beard's drums, such a robusty rhythm section. They're the backbone of the band. They sound tight. They know the arrangement tight. They keep the band sounding foundational and tight. Billy Gibbons has got the easiest job in the world as a frontman of a three-piece, because he had one of the greatest rhythm sections of all time, in my opinion. For a three-piece, if people are not familiar with what we're talking about, in a trio band with three members, you've got to have a good rhythm section or it's going to fall apart. With the recordings, these guys were so tight and they knew exactly what to play on the song. And this is a perfect example of Frank and Dusty's, playing on a song in a recording sense. that was so well. And Billy Gibbons, his vocals, I mean, he's got that gravelly vocal. He's got like I'll say it like this, a playful and flirtatious spirit in his voice, the way he portrays the lyric. And you know what I mean? It's a hands down 10 out of 10, never a skip for me, guys. Andrew.
Yeah, cheers, guys. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Brad, for your wonderful intros kicking off this great album. Look, I have to agree with a comment that John ZD351 has made, and I've made something similar as my first point. The first thing that came into my mind after listening to this the first time after the Rock Professor picked it, Brad, was, wow, this is the definitive. This is the ZZ Top sound even back then for the second album, and it kind of blew me away because I don't want to get controversial here. Well, maybe we might be, but you know, sometimes, and a lot of people will talk about, you know, the digital sound from Eliminator onwards and versus the analog ZZ Top, and you know, I don't see a big dichotomy between the two bands. You know, I see it as a continuum, as a forward line, Brad and Simon. So the fact that I'm listening to the first 4 bars on the song, and I can hear elements of Eliminator, isn't a problem for me at all, and I'll stand by that. When you consider that, you know, the 2 other guys that Brad mentioned don't play any role on that album. So, you know, it's gonna, you know, it's an interesting point. But I agree with you, Brad. I think it's just fantastic. It's a tight song, and the Rock Professor's nailed it on the head. You know, it's got that radio friendly vibe. Interesting that it didn't do better than 67 Rock Professor, but definitely went on as the band got more and more popular. And I think this is included on a lot of greatest hits, isn't it, Brad? You know, this song, you know, it's, and for good measure. And I too have given it a 10 out of 10, but definitely out of the blocks, it's like, wow. Yeah. You know, there's no surprise here with this track for that continuism. Continuous.
Spit it out.
She's now making up new words.
Continuism.
Continuity.
Anyway, yeah. Francine.
Francine. Yeah, great opening track. And I mean, I agree with you. The interesting thing is that you could listen to this album because it's a much later, and the sound is still there, isn't it? The sound of those 3 guys. You go listen to Raw. I mean, I think that's a good example. If you go listen to Raw, you know, done, you know, just music, there ain't much difference between them, are there? There's not much difference in the sound.
No.
And the way that they play, and all that touring, you know, tighten them up, and you know, so they all know what they're doing, and they make a fantastic 3-piece, don't they? The three parts of them. Oh, look out! Mr. Walton's got his guitar out. We're all in trouble now. So the second track on the album is Just Got Paid. It is their blues anthem to joys of the payday, and it's kind of infectious groove and swaggering lyrics capture the thrill of hard-earned cash and late-night revelry. And it's about covers it. I mean, clearly I know it best because Joe Bonamassa's covered it and continues to cover it. I think he was doing it on his. I think he was doing it on his last trip to England at the Albert Hall. He was doing it. I think I'm pretty sure he was. So you know that I mean, that's where I know it from. And you go, oh, right, which is nice. You hear a song and you go back and find the original source and find. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a classic riff that just started off with, and nice overdubbed guitar. Brad, as you were saying, you know, there's always 2 guitars on this. You know, very clearly a rhythm guitar track, and you know, lead guitar track kind of thing, and great shuffle beat as well, just straight into it. And they have that groove, don't they, ZZ Top? And you know, so much of these songs are about the groove, setting it up, not too fast, not too slow, just the right amount of swing, and they all know what to do to just, you know, have that bed down. and it's got a great slide solo with a completely different chord structure. It's not the same
Sure.
as the opening stuff at all. Is it? It goes into completely. It's almost like they bolted two songs together. I don't know, that probably didn't, but it feels like they took another bit and said, "Oh, look, that'll fit in there," you know. So they just got that little 2-chord vamp underneath, and underneath the slide solo. Interestingly, we'll get into, but lots of slide on this. I don't necessarily think of Billy Gibbons as a slide player, but there's a lot of slide on this record, isn't there? He does play a lot of slide on it. But yeah, I mean, it's it's got that nice sort of drop down into that cool groove, 245 kind of thing. Just they just sit in, don't they, on the groove beautifully, and got that kind of and then the fierce slide playing near the end and the opening riff, and that slide feedback to finish. Feedback always improves things. 10 out of 10 for me. Never a skip. Great second track, and going off here, Brad.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Simon. I mean, just got paid. For me, it epitomizes ZZ Top. It's got the blues stylings with the signature infectious groove that we know so well of ZZ Top. It's got that gritty sort of guitar riff and the vocals again. It's just so soulful and meaning. But again, lyrically, there's always a bit of humor behind them. And I mean, I remember in the good old days as a up and coming tradesman earning my first paycheck, and every Friday I used to get paid. Thursday night for Friday, I used to go, "You beauty, you just got paid today." And I used to sing this song when I actually got paid. Just got paid today, got me a pocket full of change, and it's just one of those joyous moments of putting in the hard work and getting paid for it. So again, only ZZ Top can put that little humorous spin on everything they did in their songs. Billy Gibbons, his guitar work shines. I mean, so iconic is Billy Gibbons' sound and his style, regardless of whether he's playing a Les Paul, Strat, Telly, doesn't matter. We know it's Billy Gibbons. His slide playing is nothing short of genius, in my opinion. He's accompanied by Dusty Hill's bass and Frank's drumming. I mean, it sounds like a freight train. And I've got to say it here, I think Frank's drumming is massively underrated. He's a phenomenal drummer. And in these early albums, he really made some of these songs by gluing them together with his drum fills and the way that he would sort of accent things and pick up little things that were happening on guitar or bass. So he was a big part of their sound from the get-go. I think Frank Beard's drumming is a massive part, just as equally as important as Billy Gibbons or Dusty Hill's bass playing. So vocals, Billy Gibbons again, has got that gravelly voice and charisma and attitude. He's amplifying that song's impact of getting paid. I mean, who doesn't love getting paid? For me, this riff, this guitar, I used to play this in a blues band called Overload. I've heard Joe Bonamassa play it. I've heard a lot of people cover it. I never used to do a slide guitar solo in it because I didn't think I could do it any justice like, Billy Gibbons. I just did my own sort of blues playing. But this song in particular, I have to give 100 out of 10 and never skip, gentlemen. Andrew.
Yeah, thank you, guys. We've got Nick Mallor, a very good friend from the UK, in the chat, joining us. Good to see you, bro. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm glad you guys mentioned the slide too, because I think when I was a young cat back in the day, I was listening to this album around the time when I was seriously sort of listening to Exile on Main Street, Brad. And I was blown away by the slide guitar. We've mentioned this before. I just couldn't get over how many songs Simon, the Rolling Stones, were playing slide guitar on. And so when you're listening to this album, when you're a young guy going, wow, because you don't normally, in my mind, back then associate Billy Gibbons as being a slide guitar player. And I'm glad, Brad, that you mentioned that, because I'm not a slide guitar expert at all, but I love it. I've spent years trying to play it. And I know the differences between, for example, Dwayne Orman's style, Derek Trucks' style, and Mick Taylor's style. But you go and try and play slide like Billy Gibbons, and it's a very gentle style. It's which is a little bit in the opposite direction from everybody else. And I agree with you. I think it's a monster track because of that surprise. And you're getting that on the second track, Simon. So very underrated slide guitar player, but definitely up there with the best. I won't talk about anything else other than, because you guys have just nailed it. I'm just looking here at my notes. Always going to be a hit, the song. It was always going to be a hit because in 72, you know, rock and roll, you had the Faces, Brad, playing slide, didn't you? So a lot of these English cats were kind of, you had the Allman Brothers. So, it was always going to be a hit, Simon, whether or not it was going to be a radio hit or an album pick for a lot of people. And clearly it has gone on to be exactly that, but it's no surprise. Like you, Brad, it's a 10 out of 10 for me. It's just a What's that word? What's that word, John? It's a continuous stream of Texas music. Continuing. Sorry. I'm just been trying to be funny. I haven't taken any drugs either. Sorry.
Are you sure?
Hugs not drugs.
He's been on the Diet Coke again. Oh dear.
Hugs not drugs.
Rugs.
We used to have badges. We used to get, we used to do that. And anyway, that's another story.
Fugs. The fugs.
Hugs
anyway.
Not drugs.
Oh dear. Good. Did you give it a score?
Oh yeah, 10 out of 10. 10 out of cracker.
Yes.
Cracker.
You've got to score it, otherwise there's no point in being here. Well,
just make up word. I don't care anymore. Okay.
Oh, look at that. Tossing them off, no problems. Okay, so track 3, Mushmouth Shoutin, great title. So this features not, and I must say, I don't think of ZZ Top as an acoustic band, band with acoustic guitars really at all when I think of ZZ Top. So this came something that was a surprise to me. Good Lord, it's got an acoustic guitar on it. How does that? Yes. Oh, the great Dave Nestor. Yeah. Yes. 2 years. But yes, I was rather surprised when an acoustic guitar appeared out of the mix on this. I was like, oh, okay. So it gives it a very kind of a pretty authentic Delta blues feel, doesn't it? The sound of it is. I think Billy's playing. I don't know if he's playing a Strat, a very clean sort of. It sounds quite acoustic-like guitar, second guitar, but and also playing harmonica as well. So two unusual bits for ZZ Top for me: acoustic guitar and Billy playing the harmonica on it. Which, as I say, gives it that very kind of authentic Delta blues sound, and as a harp solo kind of thing, it's a pretty slow 12-bar blues. So again, track 3 opening the album out, telling us there's going to be other sounds and other directions it's going to go, and it's not just going to be straightforward, bluesy, which I think is really cool. I think this is a really good place for it to be on the running order. Yeah, it's just a really interesting song. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 and never a skip. That's really cool. It's really authentic as well. Brad.
Look, Mushmouth Shoutin, it's a shifting gear. I put it as a shifting gear for this album. Like the first 2 tracks at this point, they're balls to the wall and blues drenched in, gritty guitar and whatnot. This has got a completely sort of different vibe going on, which you alluded to there, Simon. And, they delve into, lyrically, I mean, it's that whole thing of desire, longing, everyday struggles. Again, instrumentation, I think like Billy Gibbons is so dynamic with his guitar work. You mentioned that cleaner sort of, it sounds like a Strat to me. I could be wrong. It could be a Telecaster, it could be a Strat, not sure.
Yeah.
But there's
definitely single coil.
Yeah, definitely got that sort of that honky, quacky sort of thing going on, but clean. It's very clean in comparison to the last two tracks. And the harmonica, he's highlighting his harmonica ability, playing the harp, playing that harmonica. It's got his vocal, infuses a lot of emotion and intensity there. He's capturing the essence of the blues as well. I think that the whole thing is done really, really well. And I gave it 8.5 out of 10 and never skip, gentlemen. Andrew.
It's an incredible track, in my opinion. I'm just going to echo what the rock professor said. That blues harp and that Chicago sound vibe, obviously, is the key component to this track, and very well picked choice of a song for this band in 1972, and the reason why I think they put this on their second album, Simon and Brad, was to declare to these English guys in 1972 that this was an American band that was very aware of the Chicago blues sound, and they could do it just as well as a lot of these English bands that they've been spending the last 5 years, Simon, listening to. Billy Gibbons, he's a Clapton nut. He's been listening to the Stones. He's been listening to all these guys for a long, long time. So, he's saying to them in a roundabout way, Texans can play this shit too. So, there. It's 10 out of 10 for me, Brad and Simon. It's never a skip. Great 3 songs. Just fantastic. Blew me away.
Yeah, they are great opening 3 songs, aren't they? Just kind of that very kind of pop sensibility and that real bluesy anthem of Just Got Paid, and the acoustic, much more acoustic-y thing, lighter shade for track 3. Runs really well, doesn't it? As a first 3 tracks. Track 4 is Cocoa Blue, which is back to the rock thing. It's interesting. Some of these things are kind of their time. For me, it's got that riff at the beginning. It's like the Doors, the Changeling, isn't it? That I've picked that as you go. All right, and clearly, 72 is not that far off 71, is it? An LA Woman. So you're thinking it's probably quite contemporary as a reference point, which is great. It's actually fun. Again, the sound of it is really good as well. Gibbons has got that sound, and they do a really good job of making a fantastic recorded sound.
Yeah.
Full, nice. Yeah, again, shuffle beat, steady bass. Dusty Hill knows when to lay on the groove, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
Just lay in there. You're not doing anything flash, not doing anything difficult or anything like that. But it's the bedrock, Brad, as you said earlier. That rhythm section is fantastic bedrock for Billy to play over, which he does quite a lot on this track. It's I like the fact that guitar plays on the offbeat in the verses. It's just it's just those kind of subtle changes where you just play the offbeat and then you play on the on beat in the chorus kind of thing, just to give it a different vibe, a different feel. You've got a drop down at 136 when the guitar plays just with the drums. Dusty Hill drops out and then comes back in. Then you have a harp solo, another harp solo, so kind of continuity with the previous track.
Yeah.
That with the harp solo and a slide overdub at the end. Another great track. It's got the groove, it's got the drive. 9 out of 10 from me. Never a skip. Brad.
Yeah. For me, Cocoa Blue, and again, it showcases, ZZ Top's mastery of the blues rock stylings. It's got a real soulful groove, and for some reason, I just, picture when I'm listening to this song like that whole late night sort of nightclub, or I don't know. I get this vibe. It's just got that. I don't know. For me, that's just what I'm picturing. That sort of nightclub or blues club kind of ambience thing going on there. From back in the day, I'm talking about, not these days. I'm a little bit old to go to nightclubs these days, but lyrically it's great. It's got a great sort of retrospective, complexity of love sort of thing going on. Billy Gibbons, his guitar work is so soulful. He's got a beautiful harmonica solo here as well. Dusty Hill's bass playing and Frank Beard's drumming again. They're catching all the accents and the dynamics of the band so well. And obviously Billy Gibbons with his gravelly vocal sort of catches the emotion and sincerity of it. I think the sound of this song in particular draws you in. You can't sort of do anything but listen to it. Those accents, ding, 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 it's like pretty demanding sort of guitar work and band rhythm section work there. They're so locked in together, and the verses with the accents and stuff like that, the way they're playing, it's just something quite unique about ZZ Top's sound. Big part of it is the three of them together. It's just phenomenal. I gave Cocoa Blue 9.5 out of 10, and Never a Skin. I love it. Never a skip, Andrew.
Cheers, bro. Thank you for that. I'm just going to talk about the bass that I on this track. I think it's just phenomenal. You guys have obviously mentioned it. The Rock Professor mentioned it as well in his discussion on it. It's not an easy thing to do for a bass player sometimes, just to sit in the groove, Simon, and just to play those 3 or 4 pocket notes. Sometimes it's really easy, after about 3 or 4 minutes, Brad, or maybe even a minute for some bass players to want to throw it in half a dozen notes, just to break up, I'm not going to say the monotony, but, just the pace of just being able to be in the pocket. But you talk to anybody that's in a rock and roll band, any lead guitarist, any vocalist, they're going to tell you the best bass player is the one that just plays in the pocket. And give me that bass player every day, anytime, Simon. I don't want to hear a bass player play 15 notes when he should only be playing 3. And don't get me wrong, Dusty can do all that shit. We know that, can't but one of the great things about him is that he can just sit there on that bass drum when they need to, and as you said, give that platform that a single guitar player and the vocalist needs. You did that a couple of weeks ago. You when you were at your gig, you had a bass player and a drummer. So you're relying exactly on this kind of format. To give you the ability, to play what you need to do. And if you don't have that, it's not going to be successful. It doesn't matter how good you think you are as a guitar player or a singer or a vocalist or a guitar or a band leader.
Agree.
Yeah. And for me, the bass on this track certainly highlights that ability that Dusty has. I've given this 8.5 out of 10. Never a skip though. Rock Professor.
Yeah. Brad had a trio on stage and 5 other musicians behind the curtain.
Playing guitar for me, singing.
Yeah, singing. Yeah, auto tuning, all that stuff. Yes.
That's right.
Entirely untrue. Made up by me. Comic effect and nothing else. I should behave better. Brad, how could I, eh?
No, it's all right. I'm used to copying, everyone's cheekiness towards me in relation to me being a musician. I'm used to it, mate. It's fine.
Because we're envious, jealous.
No, don't be envious of me, mate. Everyone's good in their own right.
I'm envious of anybody who can write their own stuff, go out and do their own thing. Hats off to you, that is. I just mess about in a covers band. That's not the same thing at all. Being in a covers band is being a technician, not being an artist. That's
Yeah,
about that.
but
Well, the things I
I,
play.
I agree. It's a whole show within itself, Simon, and you're opening a can of worms here, I'm sure. We can probably address this one later, but I have to sort of say I think cover band artists are still phenomenal within their own right because you
Oh
still
no,
got to
absolutely. I'm not taking away from it, but
um,
you know.
yeah. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's get back to the record because
Anyway, last
I'm
track,
fearful
side one.
I'm fearful that we'll start a whole episode here of something that we can do in another show together. So
We couldn't be accused of digression, could we, by some chance? Anyway,
no,
stop that.
never.
Williams, stop that digression. Sorry, sir. It's been
Right.
said before about me, Brad. Don't worry. So last track on side one is Chevrolet,
Yes.
paying homage to the iconic American guitar brand, of course. And it has, and again, it's very ZZ Top, and this is a blueprint for lots of other of those ZZ Top things. That kind of bluesy kind of little riff that he plays just at the beginning, and then he does it one guitar, and then he does it with two guitars before he comes in singing. Yeah, classic ZZ Top, that is, isn't it? You know, and
Yeah.
you could point to lots of other tracks where they do that, exactly that. So fantastic. And it's got that kind of chopped 12-bar blues. It's very much a 12-bar blues thing. Some two-part harmony stuff as well, which is really cool. And again, again, the use of the stop, the underrated use of the stop, and you just play the guitar. Somebody just, one thing just plays. There's a dynamic, just a little dynamic device, isn't it, within a song, just to kind of stop, start again, play something else. And Billy does that solo with all those like harmonics, isn't it? Almost all kind of that pinched harmonics thing. Those amazing kind of solo to it. Completely different feel and vibe to it, the stuff he's done before on this album. Completely different. So fantastic, and great feel in the guitar playing. So 10 out of 10 from me. Never a skip. I love this track. It's really great. Brad.
Yeah, I can't. I can agree 100%. It's got that, that classic ZZ Top blues essence in this track again. I feel like we're repeating ourselves quite a bit, but I mean, that's the thing about ZZ Top. They repeat crackers every single time. They sound like ZZ Top, But they got that driving rhythm, the vocals, and obviously evoking that spirit of American roots music, paying homage to, as you said, Simon, the American automobile. There's like that thing of, the lyrical content, sort of the narrative of like travel and pursuit of the American dream. It's got that sort of vibe, but it's great lyrics driven by Billy Gibbons's guitar work, in my opinion. Some signature stylings from Billy. I love that middle section that breaks down. You know what I mean? It's got Dusty Hill's bass, Frank Beard's drumming again. The very, very important part of the whole band, the rhythm section. You mentioned the guitar playing there, Simon, with the sort of pinch harmonic sort of thing. That's just Billy Gibbons. I mean, that to me is Billy Gibbons' signature. And as well as his vibrato and his bends and the way he plays, and his gravelly vocals infuse that emotion and attitude as well. He's invoking the thrill of exploration. I too gave this a 10 out of 10. Simon, you gave it a 10, didn't you? I gave it a 10 out of 10.
I did.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I absolutely love it. Andrew.
Oh yeah, I just want to echo a point here that our friend Johnny is making. Yes, there's a well-known video. There's a few videos on YouTube of Van Halen covering this back in the 74. Go and check out a lot of their club tracks that they did. But yeah, this one is definitely worth checking out. Look, my co-hosts have said enough about the song. I'm just going to say one thing. Go and check out this song and get blown away by the guitar solo. The guitar solo is just something phenomenal. And when you consider, if you're back in 72 listening to this album for the first time, Brad, you know, and you weren't familiar with this band, you know, this guitar solo with the squank notes.
Yeah.
You know, those
He's at
pinch
it again.
harmonics. You know, it's just incredible. And I remember being blown away by it, and again listening to it in preparation to hang out with you guys. It's like, you know, this track. Then there's another track on side 2 that's definitely a sleeper. It's like, you know, this track's a sleeper.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
Wow. But yeah. Go and check out that guitar solo, and you probably, if you're really familiar with ZZ Top, you probably go, oh yeah, that's cool, yeah, that's great, you know. But if you're new to ZZ Top, if you're watching on replay, go and check it out, definitely, and get blown away. I've given this a 9.5 out of 10, only because there's a couple of other songs on side 2 that are just good.
Oh, yeah. There are, yeah.
It's good, yeah.
Photos?
So,
yeah,
photos. End of side 1. Look at that. End of side 1.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to show you guys something that blew me away. I've only got a couple of picks here, and I was mindful to pick them from 72, 73, around the era of this band. And I'm going to tell you, I wasn't aware consciously of this, but have a look at this, Brad and Simon. Look how small Frank's drum kit is in 72. Look what he's using, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And so I just want to go back to the point that you were making, Brad and Simon, in your intros about how phenomenal this band sounded. You know, these guys back then were just making a tin pot bloody drum set sound incredible.
Yeah.
I'd say that's all you need, to be honest. You know,
I have to say, I love it when I rock up to a rehearsal or a filling gig with a new drummer, or, you know, or the drummer rocks up with, you know, less gear and they rock up with a kit that's like that. I love it, because I think, wow, this guy's going to kick ass. Yeah, that's how I always think. When I see a guy rock up with 2 bass drums, 20 toms, 50 cymbals, I go, oh, here we go.
Palmer.
When you see a guy rocking with a kit like this, you know they mean business, you know?
Charlie Watts did the same thing. Just one snare, one tom.
Yeah. And, of course, Max Weinberg. Going to, you know, has played for Bruce Springsteen for 4 years with a, you know, one you know, snare, one tom, a floor tom, and a bass drum. 4 drums.
Yeah, that's all. He's got a rack tom. He's only got a rack tom and a floor tom. That's it. 3 toms, 2 toms. Yeah.
Look at them.
You know, you're traveling around in a van and stuff like that. It's, you know, you have a little. Don't have very much. The old Bo Diddley guitar as well. Fantastic.
I actually think there's a Vistalite kit he's using there too. The Ludwig Vistalite.
Yeah, it's a Vistalite. Yep.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah.
There's the album
Don't
cover.
You must lay down a groove, do you?
Yeah.
Great album cover.
Yeah.
Says it all, doesn't it?
It says it all. Like it's got an essence to it, you know. Good. It's great. Yeah.
Look, beardless. Look at that. Beardless Billy Gibbons.
So young there, isn't he? Look at those baby cheeks. Look at those fat cheeks, Brad. Hey?
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable to think now that they're well, Billy's still got his beard, and I mean, I wonder if he's ever, you know, in his downtime shaving it off just to give his face a, you know, see what he looks like.
You can go out in disguise if he shaves it off, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Can't be Billy Gibbons. He hasn't got a beard. Yes.
That's right. That's a loving moment between Dusty and Billy.
Yeah.
It's great photo. There was a camaraderie there between these three guys, our brothers, you know.
You don't stay together for 50 years without having some, you know, bonds deeper than that kind of thing.
Exactly.
And here's
That
the
Pearly.
last one, guys.
Yeah. Nice.
That's from 73. So Billy's grown a beard there.
Yeah. Geez,
Oh yeah.
I love their style, you know. They got the boots, they got the bootleg jeans, boots, and a collared shirt and the occasional hat. And look at Frank Beard with the sunnies on his head. Like he looks like he's about to go outside and smoke a Marlboro. You know what I mean? It's just there's a real manly vibe about this band, isn't it?
You got it. You got it.
Look at that social mimicry as well, with the legs crossed, 3 legs crossed over the same way.
Yeah,
Awesome.
they look like they mean business, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they always look like they mean business, these top, don't they? You know.
Yeah.
They always look like they're going to lay it down, lay it on you.
I love that about them. They got this thing, you know.
Oh, here's our friend from Japan, Wolfgang, 5150. Good to see you, brother.
Oh.
What do you say to what do you say in Japanese to what's the Japanese greeting?
Sayonara.
No, that's goodbye.
Oh, my Japanese is brilliant, as you can tell.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
look.
can't remember. Because we've all been watching Shogun. We should all know.
Of course we do. What?
Okay, anyway, sorry. Good to see you, Wolfgang.
Yeah. Oh, God. 18. I just Googled it. The first thing came was 18 ways to say hello in Japanese.
Konnichiwa. John is right. Konnichiwa.
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 Yeah. So, side 2.
Let's do it.
Side 2, start off with apologies to Pearly, which is an instrumental. Interesting choice of starter to side 2 being an instrumental. But again, the slide starts off. Basically, they're doing "Dust My Broom," aren't they? Instrumental version of "Dust My Broom." Classic 12-bar blues, but with that little bit they do, that 4-chord turnaround they do at the end of each verse. It's that kind of takes it out of that, which is really cool. I think great to, you know, just could we say just the right amount, just the right speed on the drums. You know, setting the tempo, just the right tempo for it. Got the swing, got the groove. You know, and I think that's, you know, back in these days, no click tracks or any of that nonsense. You know, you had to set the groove, set it at the right tempo, so that it swings, so that it's got that groove too. And I think that's great about this, about Frank Beard on this particularly. Great solos from Billy. And again, if you want to know about like that kind of one note thing, you know, just he does like a 10-second thing, 120 to 120, but he just plays one note, Billy. Don't, you know, it's not playing, not flashing about all over the place. Just got that kind of, and I think that's a lesson, isn't it? Less is more kind of lesson. If you want some proof of that, then yeah, that's the perfect place to go and listen to that 120 to 130. Just got it. Just you know, that adds, not takes away from anything. And again, a slide solo at the end. 9 out of 10 from me. Never a skip. Great opener to side 2. As I say, interesting, no vocals, but I didn't miss them. Brad.
Apologies to Pearly. I'm assuming Billy's apologizing to his well-known Les Paul called Pearly Gates because he's not using it. I think he's using a Stratocaster on this song, from what I can tell. Yeah, so I think he's apologizing to Pearly, and all in good humor with, you know, everything to do with ZZ Top. I think there's always a bit of tongue-in-cheek, and I think there's a tongue-in-cheek to this title of the song, let alone, you know, the lyrical content of other songs. I think there's just, you know, I'm sorry, Pearly, I'm going to be playing this one for this song. You know, maybe maybe he was meant to record it on a Les Paul. I don't know. Maybe he picked up a Strat and went, you know what? Maybe someone can fill us in if that's actually happened. But anyway, it showcases, ZZ Top's versatility, in my opinion. This song, there's a experimental feel on this. It's got that slide approach there from Billy Gibbons, which is cementing him as a phenomenal slide player, in my opinion. This song, it's got that driven, dreamy, atmospheric sort of mood about it as well. It's got something quite unique going about it. Again, I said this and I've written it twice. Billy's slide over the top is wonderful, and the rhythm section underneath the slide is so well arranged, and they're tight. They're rehearsed, they're tight, or they know each other backwards, one of the two, or both maybe. This is phenomenal. Definitely sounds like a Strat to me. There's a slight psychedelic feel to blues here. That's what I've written here with the song. It's got a rich texture. It's got the sonic layers. When I mean psychedelic, that's what I think. And it drips blues. I love it. I've always put this on as as an opening track on a playlist, usually that I make up for ZZ Top. I give it a 10 out of 10. Never a skip, guys. Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with you, Brad. I think it's a phenomenal track, and there's a couple of clues on this track that Billy leaves us without any doubt. Around the 1 minute mark, go and check it out, and there's some hints of some riffs from Peter Green that he's pinching. There's a tune called Greenie that Peter Green did, so go and check that out, and you'll find that there's a couple of riffs from that, couple of notes from that, and also the stumble on the John Mayall album that he did with on Hard Road. Go and check that out. And we're not surprised that Billy has done that, because early on, as we mentioned a couple of songs ago, didn't we, Brad and Simon? Billy, right from the word go, mentioned his debt to these English guys, to Clapton and to Peter Green. And it's not the first time that Billy borrows some greeny tones on his albums. But definitely go and check that out, Greenie, and also the Stumble, and go and listen to this phenomenal track. I agree with Brad. It's definitely going to be on one of my playlists, and very, very smart, Simon, for them to open up side 2 with this track. Very smart, very clever. Just so far, it's a perfect album. With the song placements, smart band for a second album, very clever. Their management, very clever. Never a skip, 10 out of 10, bro. Just about a Brad score. Just about.
Close. No cigar. Sorry,
I'm on mute. So track 2, barbecue.
Oh, Texas barbecue.
It's making me hungry for some ribs.
Yeah. Ooh, some brisket. Anyway, stop that. It's 9:17 here. It's breakfast time. Can you have barbecue for breakfast? Nobody knows.
During summertime, yeah.
Fine. Somebody should have started cooking it on Friday, shouldn't you? For Sunday morning. It's no good. Yeah. Really?
Good point.
Oh, nice one, Johnny. Yeah, that's a good point. So yes, barbecue. It's a crossfade from the previous track. It kind of does that. Which is a pretty cool production technique of keeping the energy up, keeping it going, and straight. It's a classic thing, isn't it? When you go and see a band, and you do the first 4 songs without, just going straight from one to the other kind of thing. That always, that's always a great way of, keeping the energy up, keeping it rolling. And Bruce Springsteen does that a lot. Does the first 4 songs without stopping, joining the one onto the other kind of thing.
Yeah,
fantastic technique. But it's interesting to do it on a record. It's not many records that do it like that, where you've got that sort of crossover. So straight into that again. We say it a lot, but it's true that even then, you look back on it having heard lots of ZZ Top. This is classic ZZ Top, isn't it? The riff and everything is the sound of it, that kind of rock sound that he gets is classic ZZ Top. Fast kind of 12-bar shuffle. The guitar, he does call and response with the guitar on this. He hasn't really done that before, not so much. So there's another. Again, he's all about subtleties, aren't they? They're all about the little things that he does differently within each song to keep the interest going and stuff. And it's not the same thing. Again, he's got the classic pinched harmonics in the solo. Classic Gibbons that seemingly he does it like nobody else, does he? There's a kind of there's a technique, just brilliant. Back to that, and you've got that really great groove under the solo at the end. It just, it's a very difficult thing to do, and it's a very easy thing to say, oh, it's great groove, but you get in that groove and it kind of almost a hypnotic thing, you could go on for days, couldn't you? And it'd be that kind of, you'd be dragged into it. So another great track for me, 9 out of 10, and never a skip. Really good second track on side 2. Brad.
Yeah, I'll look. Barbecue. I used to call it BBQ. It definitely sits quite heavily up there as one of my favorite ZZ Top songs. I love the sound. It embodies that ZZ Top blues rock essence. It's got that catchy boogie groove that I love that ZZ Top do so well. That boogie. When they always go, it's boogie time. I know what they mean. It's you know what you're in for. It's got that gritty, bluesy guitar riff, the driving rhythms, and the playful lyrics. Again, Billy Gibbons, the way he tracks guitar work on recordings, I think he's one of the greatest. He's a master at it. There's tight, punchy instrumentation going on there by Billy Gibbons. There's some signature Billy Gibbons stylings. There's some squanking. There's the outro guitar work is amazing. Dusty Hill, his bass playing is great. Frank Beard's his drumming. They lay down some of the greatest rhythm section work I've ever heard on this track. And Billy Gibbons' gravelly vocal there. He's got a lot of charisma and attitude. I guess his voice is always inviting as well, in my opinion. He's never abrupt and in your face like, oh, what's that? Like, he's always inviting. He's got a friendly vibe about his voice. I can't say enough good stuff about this. I gave it I was torn between a 9.5 and a 10, but I gave it a 10 out of 10, guys. It's never a skip. I love it.
Get in.
Andrew.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned his vocal style, because it's that kind of southern hospitality. It's that inviting. We're inviting you into our gig. It's come and join the party, which is what this band's all about. And when you said when they lock into the boogie, you can picture them doing their stage show together, and the way that they did that in unison, and they continued that right through their career, and
yes.
That choreographed it well themselves, from what we understand. Just a couple of things I'd like to sort of mention to you guys. So, the guitar solo is awesome on this track.
Oh, yeah.
So is Billy still using, back then, we know that he was famous for using light gauge strings. So are we assuming that he's using 8s back then, Brad?
I think Billy changed to lighter gauge strings early in his career. So I would say he's using 9s or 8s. Yeah, 100%.
And it's remarkable then, isn't it? That this technique. And so they must have everything must have been on 10 with the amps, and if he's just
Oh, yeah.
using, because again, if you go and watch some of the footage of him playing right through his career, but certainly later on, where cameras were actually concentrating on where the hands were on a guitar, Brad and Simon.
Yeah.
Early on, we never got that. They were too busy concentrating on the face, weren't they? And we didn't get to see what they were doing.
Exactly.
But you just go and watch now, anything over the last, say, 20 years, and you watch Billy, his technique is very gentle. He's very, he doesn't dig in.
No, he's a well-rounded sort of player. He plays fairly light. He doesn't play aggressively like Steve Ray Vaughan. Let's say that.
Or Joe Bonamassa. So, and the reason why I'm mentioning this, folks, is we the three of us got together and we spoke about that tribute gig that they did for Peter Green a couple of years ago, and Billy's up there and he's just brushing these strings, and my God, the sound that's coming out of it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So again, we're talking about something relatively contemporary, Simon, but this is back in '72, and we know that techniques don't change that much. So you got to probably assume that he's just playing that gentle kind of technique. But everything must have been on 10, Brad, for that to work.
Yeah, I think that in the studio they were well known for playing reasonably loud. Let's put it that way.
They loved it.
Apparently,
And they were blaming each other.
Yeah. Apparently, he changed to light gauge strings when he was 22. This would have been in 1971. So he would have been playing eights on this. Yeah.
Wow.
I like it.
So
it says the gazillionth thread on string gauges. Billy Gibbons uses eights.
And so we have to assume then, folks, that he's playing. So this is one of the reasons why I'm sorry for backtracking, but when we were talking about his slide technique being completely different to the other giants around the same time, and because they were all using 11s or 10s, Brad, and he's using 8s, so no wonder his technique when he's using his glass slide is very gentle. Because he can't, there's no tension. There's not enough tension, no matter how high you've got your action and your nut lifted off the fret. There's no way that you can, you can't dig in with the slide. You're brushing it. So, again, master guitar player.
Technique. That is technique, isn't it? Yeah.
You got it. Love it. 10 out of 10 for me. Never a skip.
Yeah. Good night, Gretch. Sleep well. Thank you for staying up till 1:30 a.m. You're very kind. That's
Thank you.
So track 3 sure got cold after the rain fell. To me, this is the centerpiece of the album. I think in many ways, 7 minutes 39 of a slow blues, and just every bit of it needs every bit of that. It's a fantastic track. The arpeggio chords that he plays underneath the lead guitar at the beginning, and then all the way through, it sounds so good. I don't know about you. I'm such a person, you're playing a G and a D, you've just got the sound, and it just the sound of those 3 chords just played, picked out, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love that. I think very soulful singing from Billy, and interestingly, he's the only singer on this album. Dusty doesn't sing at all on this, does he?
No.
As far as I can tell, I think it was all Billy. Great singing, really. That soulful kind of gruff singing that gives it just the vibe that it needs. Lovely solos, great solos. 240s the first one, long, and that kind of his ability. Not, there's no kind of playing 3 notes when one will do, is it, or 10 notes before? Yeah, absolutely, Johnny. Tone, feel, the space between the notes. That's what makes him a master. And this track absolutely showcases, his mastery of that, of the, playing a slow blues with atmospheric. It was a great use of space. I just, I can't say enough of this. Go and listen to it. Go and put on headphones and, really pay attention, because It's got all the feel, all the vibe, and hats off to and I think that notes should be made of drumming and bass. The bass with the bass chords that just fill out that bass end and just give it that extra push that plays with the arpeggio guitars. Hasty, just a lovely bit of subtle kind of arrangement, and it just gives it that bottom end that sounds so good. 100 out of 10 from me. Never a skip ever. But for me, this is the showcase track on the album.
Yeah.
Brad, say something else.
You took a lot of my notes here, Simon, but I'll just put a couple of things in there. Like Sure Got Cold After the Rain Fell. It's a mastery of blues rock with a slow, soulful type groove. I'm going to throw a spanner in the works here. I hear Black Crows in this song. So when I say that, this is recorded before the Black Crows, and I think the Black Crows have definitely drew inspo from this song. I'm just going to throw that out there. There's nothing wrong with drawing inspiration from our heroes. I'm sure that this is one song that the band listened to when they were writing some of their biggest hits. Go and listen to anything of Southern Musical Companion album or any of their albums, actually. And there's a couple of tracks on this. I'm going to leave them. Maybe you can put them in the comments later if you think of them that sound very similar to this song. Because it reminded me of a particular song this week, and I went and listened to it, and I was like, ooh, right. Lyrically, it's fantastic. It's got that heartache, the loss, the passage of time, using cold rain as a metaphor for the emotional turmoil, the space, it's very held back. You need to dim the lights when you're listening to this song to get the real effect and capture the vibe of the song. It's got that real enhancing melancholic sort of tone going on there. I love the guitar effect and the sound of the guitar that Billy's captured. He plays like a man that's in pain. He's putting himself into the instrument when he's playing these solos, the way he's playing. He's a bluesman through and through. He's feeling the emotion. It's phenomenal. Fantastic guitar playing in this song, some of the best on the record. I love the second solo he does on this equally. Frank and Dusty, they're sitting in the pocket, minimalistic playing as the song requires. Rhythm sections like this don't grow on trees. They're just doing what's needed in this song, and they do it so wonderfully well. Billy Gibbons, his vocals, there's an emotion and a vulnerability there in his voice as he's narrating like that emotional journey in the lyrical content. For me, it's nothing less than 100 out of 10. It's a masterpiece, and it really captures ZZ Top playing slow blues. Andrew.
Yeah, I can't add much actually to what you and the Rock Professor have said. We've got our very dear friend Hugh joining us after a late night out, and he has nailed it on the head too, saying that this track is a masterpiece. I've made that comment too. It's a masterpiece. What's really interesting about this track, and I'm glad that our co-hosts and people in the chat are on agreeance with it. I thought about this track over the last couple of days, and it's probably, while it's a masterpiece, it's definitely a sleeper. It's definitely a sleeper. It's not one that you would assume casual ZZ Top fans, Simon, would know. I reckon they would know just about every track off Eliminator, but they wouldn't know this track, and it's such a tragedy that they don't know this track, because I have to agree with, again, everything that you guys have said. When I was a young guy and I heard this, I was blown away by it. Been blown away by it ever since, for 30-odd years, Brad. It's fantastic. I'm glad you mentioned the Black Crows, because there's been a lot of bands. Pearl Jam have been influenced by this track as well. Lots of artists. Go and listen to Seeing Things on the Black
That's
Crows.
all.
Yep, you got it, bro. Go and check that song out, and you'll see where they've borrowed it from. And you know that continuum of that music tradition is there. Not a lot of bands can pull off a slow blues track, Brad and Simon. You know, we've discussed this a few times. You know, it's pretty easy for some guys to go out there and do 3 bars, 3 chords blues, you know, and a 4/4, you know, but to be able to do this on their second album, Brad.
Yeah.
You know, and how old is Billy? 23?
About that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Early
23, yeah, 49. So he's 23.
You know, just it blows me away. There's a few YouTube channels that I watch where guys say that, you know, you can't teach this stuff. You know, Tom Petty talks about that too. Tom Petty says you got to be from the South, folks. Sometimes, you know, you guys might be able to touch a little bit of it, but if you're not from the South, you know, and I've got that in the back of my mind when I hear this song, Brad. You know, I think you've nailed it on the head, you know. How can a guy at being 23 sing about this torment and this heartache and this pain unless it's coming from something, unless it's coming from the fact that, you know, these guys are from a place, from the South, Simon, you know, which has had its ups and downs, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
still trying to find its identity in the new world, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, and that comes from something, and that flows into something, that flows into songs like this. So I agree with you, Brad and Simon. I think it's the album track, isn't it? And again, when I listen to it, I'll stick my hand up. I think it's been about 6 months, Brad, since I've listened to this track. I was beating myself up, going, "You wanker! You call yourself a blues man,
hey!"
And you've only listened to this 3 times in the last 12 months.
What have you been doing?
Well, it definitely deserves its place in you know, my opinion, as you know, if you made a playlist on Spotify of the greatest slow blues tracks of all time, it'd be definitely on there.
Should have to be in there, wouldn't it? Would have to be in there, you know.
100%.
Yeah. Look, this is a Hughes score. This is not a Brad score. This is a Hughes score. It's 8 million. I think it's fantastic. It's brilliant.
Up there with Since I've Been Loving You.
I just think it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal track, and definitely a sleeper. And I think, you know, I'm glad the 3 of us and folks in the chat. Every now and again, you know, we do a show once a week, but every now and again we do manage to pull out, you know, every 3 or 4 tracks, every 3 or 4 shows, we definitely pull out one track that we think, wow.
100%.
Yeah, get it on your eternal playlist. What are you doing? Actually, there's probably 2 or 3. There's 3 or 4 tracks on here. You could probably do that, aren't there? You know.
Yeah.
Fancy. Got paid, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so good. Track 4, side 2, is Whiskey and Mama. Classic ZZ Top title. This is back very much into the classic ZZ Top territory. It's got that heavy riff with the drums and the bass at the beginning, reminiscent of Crazy Horses. I'm going by the Osmonds. It's see, I'm so yeah. They are the first time this show's mentioned the Osmonds. Probably the last, but maybe. But again, nice bit. They do the riff, and then there's a stop before he goes into the verse. Just, you know,
incredible, wasn't it? Incredible.
Yeah. It's really good. That's just this little piece of dynamic. You just go stop, and then you go into the verse and start singing. And it's pretty much a standard kind of song from that. You know, 3 verses. The last line is the title. Got a nice slide solo. Again, more slide solo. Is it really interesting that chooses to play a lot of slide on this record.
Mm.
Again, the less is more thing, isn't it? He's not blasting away at it. It's just got, takes it all down and just has those few notes that say it all, as far as he's concerned. And a nice sort of false ending at the end as well, just to keep you entertained. 8 out of 10 from me, but never a skip. Yeah, absolutely. Brad.
Whiskey and Mama epitomizes ZZ Top's gritty blues rock sound. It's got a driving rhythm. It's got that sort of gruff guitar riff sound, that gruff thing that is so, I love so much about ZZ Top. Soulful vocals again, great lyrics. There's a bit of tongue in cheek in the lyrics here and there. It's great how they did this sort of vocal thing with their lyrics, and the vocals are, they convey that love and longing with impassioned security in the song, but he's got that gravelly thing going on in his voice. It's warm, it's welcoming, it makes you want to hear his voice more. The band are tight, they're very tight, punchy. The song's raw energy is captured really well. Billy is all over this song. His raunchy guitar playing. He's leading the song. Frank is playing so well on the drums. He's driving the song as well. And Dusty's bass thumps along, providing that foundational, formation for the band, for the song. That's so important. His role in this band, Dusty's role, was that vocal, that lead harmony vocal all the time, and that solid foundational thing to keep the band glued together. And Frank Beard was a busy drummer at times, but he always knew when to play exactly what was just needed. So when he was busy, Dusty kept it tight, kept that glue there. It was phenomenal. Billy's slide playing, Simon, you mentioned it. It's unreal. I love it. He's got such an amazing slide style. I think he's got a very unique slide style. We hear it in songs that he's more famous in, like Tush or Tush, however you want to pronounce it. But he really captures his slide style on this record. And I think that's going back to a lot of his heroes, no doubt. Billy's vocals, I mentioned it before. And it's a great second last song, Simon. I know this undoes your theory. I think we've undone that theory a long time ago. It's a great second last song. And I struggled to give this anything less but a 10 out of 10 and never a skip, guys. Andrew.
Yeah, I got to agree with Alan and her comment here. She's made totally opposite to the last track. Yeah, and it needed to be, didn't it? When you consider, where that previous track was coming from, and the track, to make that stand out needs to be, something completely opposite. Sometimes that doesn't work when we've recognised that there's been a good slow track, Simon and Brad, over the years. We've sort of realized, okay, that the following track hasn't been that good, and it's probably hard sometimes for a track to follow an epic track that's 8 million out of 10. But I agree with you, Brad. There's just something unique about this track. I too picked up something in Billy's voice a little bit different from previous tracks. And we get that a little bit later on as these albums develop too, where he kind of goes in and out of character a bit too, doesn't he? With the Lord have mercy kind of, tone that comes along, and and he, takes it to its to the ultimate level of absolute coolness. But yeah, I agree with you. And then, again, that slide guitar work that just continues right through it. Again, if you're listening to this in 1972, you wouldn't be out of place here in the slide guitar if you were listening to rock music, because it's fantastic. It's a great contrast. Not easy to do, as we've already said, and definitely his technique is unique to him. And go and check this out, Brad. I've given this a 10 out of 10 too, because I think it's just pure gold. It's one of the successes of following a 10 out of 10 or a Brad score or a Hugh score, Simon, for me. Go and check it out. It's just the contrast works.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I think I might have underscored it a bit with because I think as I said in the chat, I think it's possibly in the shadow of such a great track that preceded it.
And that's fine. And you're perfectly okay to do it. I get that.
You're going to ban me.
No.
No, no timeouts. We haven't had a timeout for a while, which is good.
No timeouts. No. We haven't had any that. We haven't had that much controversy, did we? Very bad idea. Anyway, cool. So the last track, good news. 5 tracks aside, it's plenty, guys.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, take note. Your 3-hour album, your double whatever you released, blimey, going on and on and on. Honestly, get a good editor.
I'm
With
tired.
8 songs. 8 songs. That's what you need. 10 songs. No, you don't need any more. Take the best 10. Get on with it. Look at me, Mr. Up to Date. I'm all about modern. Well, so
you mod.
I know. Yeah. Was it the Dead Poets Society? No, that's something else.
Great film.
Anyway,
great film, by the way.
Yeah, it is a great film. Yeah. So Down Brownie's the last track on there, and again we're back in classic ZZ Top. Terry Charlton with the guitar playing the riff at the beginning, and then you've got the bass and the drums and that overdubbed, the solo guitar coming in over the top. Absolute classic ZZ Top. Again, it's got the verse and the chorus, but that great turnaround, that he does at the end of it. It's just, again, there's little things that just, raise it up. It's not just a 12-hour blues, not just, they do something. He does something to lift it out of the ordinary and make it change. You think, wow, that's pretty cool. And great solos, sharp bluesy solos. Back to not the slide this time, but back to the fingers. But and that nice kind of second time around with the solo. Yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. Never a great finisher to the album. Yeah, good classic ZZ Top.
Yeah.
2 minutes 53. Well done.
I was just about to say 2 minutes 53, and you're done. It's
yeah.
They come in.
Good work.
They hit hard and they leave real quick. It's good.
You see, yes. People could learn from that, couldn't they?
But then you've got like the third last song, which was 7 minutes. Or whatever.
Beautiful. So, worth every note, Brad. Worth every.
They knew exactly what to play and how long for. Again, this is ZZ Top's distinctive blues rock, with an essence of a soulful groove going on here. Great lyrical content. I mean, I love ZZ Top with their lyrics. I love how they have a theme or something going on for the whole song, and there's always a quirkiness or twist to the lyrical content, which is something you got to go listen to all their songs to listen to the lyrics. And this is another one that's fantastic. It's got some real emotive guitar work in this from Billy. It's got that real steady pulse from Frank and Dusty on the rhythm section there. I mean, again, I've said it a few times now, repeating myself a bit. Some fantastic guitar layering and playing, by the band. But Billy's solo is my favorite on the album. This is incredible. I think Frank and Dusty's, playing on this is equally as good. But Billy Gibbons, hats off to you, mate. This is an amazing guitar solo. And maybe you guys, they're still touring. Obviously, Dusty is no longer, but they're still touring maybe you guys need to dust this song off down Brownie and bring it back. Fantastic. Billy Gibbons' vocal on this. So you know, he's got that sort of that thing, like I keep saying, that invites you to listen. And I love his vocal tone on this song in particular as well. Again, I can't give this anything less than a 10 out of 10, guys. I'm sorry.
Hey.
Keep giving these sort of scores on this. It's not because I'm a big ZZ Top fan. I just love their songs, and definitely never a skip. Andrew.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm not going to add much to what you guys have said here on this last track. Hey, Andy Carson, good to see you, brother. Thank you for jumping on. Always a pleasure.
Hey, Andy. Good morning.
I have to agree with you, Brad. There's just something unique about the guitar solo on this. All the guitar solos have a unique vibe going on them, and very seldom is Billy repeating himself on the guitar solos. I want to echo one thing too that the rock professor said too that I've made a note of, and I think again he's astute pointing it out. Anybody can do a blues turnaround. You know, we can do 20. Well, no, probably now if you give me acoustic guitar or Brad or Simon, we might go to our go-to blues turnaround. And what's the beat? It'll be just den 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 or something. You know, it'll be. But Billy Gibbons has the time to not just do those standard, what you would assume Brad to be, the standard method of a blues turnaround. He's the master. And I think someone else a little bit earlier, I think our friend Johnny Heartbreaker made a point about him and Hume being a master blues guitarist. And he certainly is, because, you know, when you're a guitar player, sometimes you want to, because you're thinking about what you're playing sometimes too much, that you might be rushing it sometimes, and then you got to realize, Brad, you got to pull back, and Billy is a master exponent and a great teacher, and like Keith Richards as well, another of just pulling it right back to the point where it can just fall over.
Yes.
and it doesn't, and that's again what blows me away with Billy Gibbons, because he's learned all these lessons. He's done all these lessons. He's been listening to Muddy Waters and listening to all his albums, when he was a young guy growing up, taking that time to do it. I agree with you though, Brad. Go and check it out. It's a wonderful guitar solo. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 too. I had a 9 out of 10 originally on my ranking, but I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 because there's so much there, and because of the rock professor's point too. It's a blues lesson. If you want to learn how to play guitar, go and listen to this album. It's incredible. Thank you, Simon.
Yeah. Been great to go and visit, get to know this album properly, because it's a really great album, and lots of fantastic tracks and classic ZZ Top, and so I've really enjoyed this week.
Yeah,
listening to it all around.
Thanks for picking it, Simon. Great album. Yeah. And I've just seen my mum's leaving, so have a
he's got a headache.
Hopefully you're feeling better later on, Mum. I know, bit of a shout out to my mum and my dad. They've had a bit of a tough week with their passing of their dog. So 14 years old. So they've had their dog Chino for 14 years. So
sorry to hear.
Prayers to them at the moment, and hopefully you're feeling better, Mum.
Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah. Our thoughts, Alan. Our chat is always better when you're in it.
Yes. Yeah. So bit of a sad one. Sorry to bring it down, guys, but just saw she was leaving, so thought I'd just mention that, and hopefully feeling better.
Cool. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Rock Professor, for picking that. I've got the choice for next week, and it might be controversy. There might be some controversy because it's not going to be an Allman Brothers album. It's going to be a continuation of a Clapton album because I'm quite keen. I'm quite keen for us to go through that 70s period. So I'm going to pick Backless. I'm going to pick Backless for us. Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to 78. I
He's
think that
punishing
album
us,
came out. Yeah.
I've listened to it for a long time.
No,
yeah. It's the one where he's got the Strat. He's got Blackie on the cover. He's on a couch and he's got that Music Man amp.
Yeah.
Couple of cool tracks and a couple of other interesting tracks on that album. So I haven't listened to that album for a long time. So yeah. So I'm going to pick that. Thank you, Simon.
Yeah.
How many Clapton albums
Yeah.
are there? 30. When you include.
Damn.
Oh,
only 25 to go. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we'd be right up there as one of the leading channels to follow every one of Clapton's and acknowledge every one of his albums.
Yeah.
It's definitely a goal of the channel.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And,
yeah.
Next Sunday after the show, Sunday evening, I'm off to see Bruce Springsteen in Cardiff. Really looking forward to that. Yeah. Me and Cara off to Bruce Springsteen.
Well done.
Might have to do a midweek show, and you might have to jump on and give us a
tell you all about
rundown. Yeah. Yeah. So, folks, Backless, interesting album. Like I say, I haven't heard it for a long time. I've heard a couple of tracks on there. There's a couple of radio tracks that get played regularly on classic rock, but yeah, we'll check that out and we'll get together. Thank you, Simon. Brad, I'm going to get you to do the last words if you want. And, man, you're looking pretty sharp there. I'm going to highlight you. You're looking pretty sharp with that Philip Sace T-shirt, and your hair's looking good too, bro.
Thanks,
looking
mate.
Pretty sharp, bro.
Thank you. No, it's the T-shirt I got when I bought the. I've been listening to this as well this week, so yeah.
We love Philip.
Yeah. No, got to support local. Oh, well, not local, but new talent. New talent, and he's been around for a long time, but for people who don't know him, he's fairly new, and this is a phenomenal record. So go and listen to it. There's another plug for you, Philip.
Yeah, and we've ranked that, so go and check that out. That's got some good views too.
And also, go and check out the interview we did with him as well. That was a real highlight.
That was really cool. Yeah, really cool. Yeah,
cool.
Brilliant.
All right, Rock Professor, you want to do a shout out to everybody in the chat, and then we'll let you go and have some barbecue for breakfast.
So John ZD through everyone. Thanks, John, joining. Fantastic as ever. Andy Carson. Thanks, Andy, for dropping by. Johnny Heartbreaker. Excellent. Yes, my gloves, my arthritis gloves, Johnny. Trying to keep my hands moving. Hugh Caldwell. Nice to you. Ellen, I hope you feel better soon. And we're sorry for the loss of your dog. It's very sad. I'm sure it's affecting you. Hugh, Johnny Heartbreaker, John. Oh, she's got Andy Carson. Well done, Andy. We had Gretz drop by, didn't he? Gretz Zeppelin drop by. Johnny Heartbreaker. Thanks, Johnny, for dropping by. Good to see you. Wolfgang 5150. Thanks for dropping by. That's fantastic. Nick Meller as well. Nick, nice to see you in the chat. Great stuff. Jonas Halberg as well. Jonas, nice to see you as well. The regulars are in. Great. Arvin as well. Thanks, Arvin, for dropping by. Derek Clacton too. Nice to see you, Derek, in the chat. Fantastic. Hopefully that's everybody. That's everybody who commented. Hope I didn't miss anyone. If I did, apologies. But thanks all for dropping by again. Fantastic to see you. And great comments and great scoring too.
Yeah.
Thanks. Brad, and I got your message regarding Black Crows and Jimmy Page.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remaster of that coming up, which will be good. That'll be good. I don't know if it's 100%, but definitely one for the Zoso show.
you will definitely. That's definitely on the list.
Yeah. John
Yeah.
said 351. I'm still not completely settled. And Andrew and Simon were talking to me about it a bit earlier. Simon asked if my studio was set up, and I said no, I'm going to change the whole damn thing because I'm not happy. So yeah, it's getting settled. But thank you, mate. Appreciate the. I can see you taking 15 minutes. It's still crap, mate. It's still crap everywhere here. Don't worry. It takes time, unfortunately. Moving is, I'm still sore all over from the move, and it happened, a month and a bit ago. So I'm still sore all over. So it never gets easier. Let's put it that way.
All right. We're out of
All
here.
right, guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Have a great
Thanks,
week, guys. Take care.
If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Bye.
Yeah.
Where is
Take
he?
it away.